ACT allows us to have multiple databases available to us from within the program, but we can only work within one database at a time. Let's say that my client had mistakenly created two databases, and now he wants to combine them both by importing all of the contacts from one into the other. So to do this for him, we need to make sure that we're first logged in to the destination database, and this is the database that will be the one he uses going forward. So let's make sure that we're logged into the CloudWalker database, since that's the one he wants to call home from now on. The easiest way to do this is just to go to the Open menu, choose the database, and click Open. Once you log in, ACT will launch that database and you'll be ready to proceed with an import. Now we can begin our import. There's one thing to keep in mind though. If you're importing from another ACT database, it has to have the same schema. What that means is it just needs to come from the same version of ACT. Otherwise, things might not line up cleanly. So if you want to import from an older version of ACT, it's still possible, but you have to perform a conversion process on that database first. But to import from another database in ACT, just remember that it must be from the same version. So let's continue with this import process. I'm going to go to my File menu and choose Import, and click Next. And now this time I'm going to import an ACT database. So let's browse to that database, and I'm going to go to my Documents area, ACT Data, Databases, and this time I'm just going to import from the demo database. So I'll select that pad file and click Open. The username and password I want to use is Chris Huffman and no password, so I'll click Next. Now I can choose which record types I want to import. Since we're coming from database to database, you can choose multiple record types, but I'm just going to select contact records and click Next. Now we need to scroll through this list and map fields from the old database to something in our current one. This lets us decide what information is valuable enough to keep and what stuff is not important. One example of that could be these fields that start with the name home. Maybe I no longer care about the home address, home city, and so on. The way to disregard data like this is to select the drop-down and then at the top choose a blank field. You can do this quickly by using the Home button on your keyboard. After you've selected all of these, ACT will decide not to import that data from the other database. Okay, that's good for now, so I'm going to click Next. Now on this screen we could go into the Merge options for each of these record types, but I'm just going to keep the default settings here. And I do want to include any attachments that might have been saved in my old database. So I'll check that box and click Next. The details now tell us that the fields are compatible, so I'm going to click the Import button to proceed. Now I can see the import has finished, and if there are any errors reported, you can click this link to view the import log. And so now my import is complete from one ACT database to another.